Let's see. There's Drumsy giving a funny face. 15 waiting. Let's see if we can fire the live stream up. I don't know. Can everybody hear me? Ah, I got a commercial
When
here.
you hand someone your logo sticker, you put your brand
Turn
out
that
into the
down.
world because stickers can travel anywhere.
Come on, you. Skip ads. There I am. Well, anyway, welcome to the live stream. We got 14 watching now, and that makes me pretty happy. I tell you what. This is going to be a fun, I hopeful, and let's see, kind of informative video about the Scram 411. I should say the Himalayan Scram 411. And of course, towards the end of the live stream here, we'll tell you about something exciting that happened to us here this week as well too, because we got some big news, some channel update to go along with this. So anyway, we got Drumsy on board, Iron Ladies on board. How many you guys shout out? I'm actually going to open a beer here. Finally, the green glass shortage is over. Then I can start drinking Rolling Rock again. That has been unavailable for, golly, most of the summer, unfortunately. Looks like we're buffering a little bit here on the computer, but no, it's back. Let's see, 8 watching, 10 watching now. So again, guys, tell us what you're drinking. Tell us, before we want to get a lot of people involved here before we start going over. I got some specs to tell you on what the Scram 411 is, and also comparison. I shouldn't say comparison. I'm not going to do a comparison between it and the Himalayan, but there are some drastic differences, which does affect both of those, the way that they ride and how they handle. And I think it'd be kind of interesting to check it out, because it's quite interesting, if you know what I'm saying. So again, guys, if you want to join in the chat, ask some questions. Like I said, we're up to 15 watching right now, and we're just getting it started. I'm going to give it a minute or two before we get into the good stuff. I do have my one of my Scram t-shirts on. That makes me happy. Let's see, Matthew, he's drinking coffee in Texas. Well, welcome, Matthew. Cheers to you, regardless what you're drinking. Drumsy, what are you drinking? I was just going to do water tonight, but I thought, yeah, you know what? It's unlike me. 21 watching now. I'll tell you what, guys, that makes me happy. We really love doing these live streams, and one of the reasons why we didn't release a video today, 22 watching now, is because, let's see, Drumsy's saying, I have no idea what that is. One of the reasons why is because I have to, on Saturdays is when I pick up a new bike and ride them. And then I actually, there's Tim Nicely. And, you know, guys, I was going to save it for later, but since he's up there and telling us he's drinking some Four Roses small batch, which is one of my favorite bourbons, I really do enjoy that. Good choice, Tim, by the way. Tim he's the this week 3 winner of the Maxx Eyewear sunglass giveaway, and I sent him an email today, and he already responded back to. Hopefully, you did to the folks out there at Maxx Eyewear as well too. Chad's there. Hey, Chad, I got an O. All right, Dickhead Brian's drinking tequila on ice with a cold Modelo. Cheers, everybody, and like I said, we really appreciate it, and we've got 20 watching now. But we got a late start yesterday, picking up the bike, and I wanted to do the right thing. So what I decided to do is do a live stream, which I've been riding now the Scram for the last couple days, and really do enjoy what I've been experiencing. It'll surprise you. You know, this is 2022. I bought the Himalayan in 2020. Like I said, it was a used motorcycle. It's a 2018, and so I've been riding it for over 2 years now, and got quite a few miles on it now. But what I'm trying to get at is, I think I know the bike really well, and which gives me the opportunity. 25 people watching now, which gives me the opportunity to tell you exactly how I think the Scram 411 is going to fit into the mix for Royal Enfield, because it does not handle the same as the Himalayan. There's some great differences, and we'll get to that here in a minute. Nathan says, hello, everyone. Oh, Chad's having some Saserac rye whiskey. Congratulations. And Chad's one of our good friends and one of our great supporters of the channel, and we really appreciate him. Of course, Nathan is as well, too, and, well, pretty much all of you guys are, and that makes me really happy. But when I picked up the when I picked up the Scram the other day, I first thing I did is I wanted to do my basic roads and things like that, just to see how she was going to perform, and did all the. And you'll see the video on Wednesday. The first video on the Scram will be coming out Wednesday, and how it performed on basically the roads around here. I didn't take it off road as of yesterday. That's for today and the next couple days. We're going to put it through we're going to put it through its paces, put it through that way. But what I found out, Dan G, T in Ohio. Well, welcome, Dan, and we're glad. What part of Ohio are you at, Dan? But we really, really, really enjoyed riding that bike. I'll tell you, the first major difference is the fact that the seat is a little lower. Let's see, the seat height is 31.3 inches, whereas the Himalayan is 31.5. I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but since the seat is completely different, you actually sit Mansfield area. Welcome, Dan. You actually sit back a little farther too. It's a one-piece seat versus a two-piece seat, and they are not interchangeable unless you do some modifications. Christian Ferreira says, hello everyone from Coke Zero at Southern Texas. Miss Kitty's here, Diet Coke. Everybody's drinking Coke. Take a break from packing, moving tomorrow. Well, hope you're moving to a really good area, or same town, Miss Kitty. Kitty's one of our Patreons and YouTube members as well too. We really appreciate her, and she's got a Himalayan as well. Like I say, Southern Texas for Christian, and really do appreciate all. We got 30 people watching now. That's fantastic. But the seat is different. To be honest with you, I like the seat on the Scram better than I do the Himalayan, which really surprised me. I feel that I could sit back farther. Now, would I like it taller? Yes. I really wish they would bring it up more level. Doesn't have to be, level. It's like on the Continental GT, but just a little bit higher for me. I have a 34-inch inseam, and so my Himalayan is the old style, and my knees actually almost, or after riding a while, do touch the crash bars that go around the tank. Now, there is no crash bars on the 411, obviously. The Scram, but the seat is really comfortable, comparatively speaking, and I sit farther back. Let's see, Arachnophobia says hello. He's in the UK. Well, welcome, Arachnophobia, and cheers. Welcome to the channel, or welcome to the live stream. Moving closer to the OHV playground, still in town. Gotcha. I take that's an outdoor park type thing for motorcycles. Is that correct? You can correct me because I don't know what that means. Simon 1231, it's 2 a.m. here. No coffee. He's from Poland. Well, again, we love our internationals. We really do. It's one of the things I've always promised in this Dickhead Bryant's. I just had to say it. That's what he said. He's from Santa Cruz, California. Ractophone is Ohio's. Family's from Ohio. My cousin got married today near Philly. Philadelphia or New Philly? Got to ask that because New Philly's in Ohio. See lots of dirt trails just outside town. That's fantastic, Miss Kitty. And that is where, to be honest with you, that's where the Himalayan and, of course, this Scram is going to shine. But the first thing I noticed in Philadelphia, the Arachnophobia says Philadelphia. The first thing that I did notice on it is the way that that you sit. It's actually got a more comfortable stance. I would say that the rider triangle is even better than what the Himalayan is, just because the way that you're sitting back farther. Now, if you're shorter, that may not be the case. You may really like the Himalayan better. Even though that the seat is a little taller on the Himalayan, you do sit back farther. And that one-piece seat is pretty comfortable. Now, I do not know how long it's going to hold up. It doesn't seem to be very thick, unlike the Himalayan seems to be a little bit more padding in it. But it's really, really comfortable for 2 days of riding so far. I can't go any farther than that. And that may change. That's why I don't do reviews until I get a lot of miles on them. But my initial thoughts on that bike is, well, it really, really does feel comfortable. And that rider triangle, plus the other stuff I'm going to tell you here in a minute, is going to make a big difference in handling. Christian says, after watching your videos, among others, I did a 3,000-mile service on my Himalayan yesterday. I bought it August 5th. Fantastic, man. You got some miles on you. That's fantastic. Ty from Tennessee says, hey, y'all. Welcome, Ty. Really appreciate it. And, give Christian there a big round of applause, because 3,000 miles in 2 months now, but that's not really I mean, that's just amazing. That's a lot of folks don't get that in a year on motorcycles, and so that's pretty cool. Rackenfoot says Canfield, Ohio, but never been there. Need to visit. Yeah, there's a Canfield Fair that probably your family have always talked about. That's pretty cool. That's amazing, guys. That's amazing. 3,000 miles. Perfect. He's got the little muscle going there. Yeah, if you do arachnophilia, philia, I don't know how to pronounce it because I'm old and stuff. But yeah, you let us know when you're out. Well, that's about 2 hours away from us, maybe a little bit more. Actually, more than that, probably 2.5 hours away from us now. But where I used to live, up in Northeast Ohio, was just a stone's throw. But let me tell you about some of the other things that I found riding the Scram. Number one, it's got, and you can see the specs. It's got a smaller front tire. The Himalayan has a 21-inch, and the Scram has a 19-inch. Well, that does some changes to the rake and trail too, and that's key. The rake and trail and wheelbase is a key to handling, and the rake and trail on. And I got this wrote down because it's hard to find online, but the Scram rake is 25.5 degrees, whereas the Himalayan is 26.5. So you got a full degree difference in rake. Now, people, that doesn't sound like a lot, but you've got trail is 4.4 inches on the Himalayan and 3.9 inches on the Scram 411, and it does handle differently. It is very, very, very Texas distances. That's funny. That's very, very. I would say a lot for handling on the road. Now on the dirt, that's going to be a different story. We're going to talk about that here in a little bit. Arachnophilia saying thinking about the Scram as your freight bike. It's very nimble. I'll tell you, it does handle better on the road than what the Himalayan does because it's of the rake and trail and the wheelbase. Wheelbase on the Scram is 57.3 and 58 on the Himalayan. Now it doesn't sound like a lot, but when you start talking about those kind of things, it does add up. Or the Marini X Cape. I got you. A lot of people talk about that. I've never seen one, but that doesn't mean anything. Jarrett says, "Hey Ronan, just bought the Scram last Saturday. How do you like it, man? Have you got any more experience on any of the other Himalayan, like a Himalayan or any of the other Royal Enfields or any other AEV style bike? Let us know in the chat there." Stuart's here. Glad to see you, Stuart. Steve says, "Steve in Sydney, 10 a.m. strong coffee, Continental GT, 36,000 kilometers this year. Wow." Like your videos heaps. Well, man, we really appreciate it. And we love making videos for y'all. It is a lot of fun, and we really, truly do enjoy, like I say, doing this. And eventually, I'll be able to retire and to be able to do even more because I want to take some longer trips. And I was talking to Shade Tree Surgeon today, and if you guys have never watched his channel, he's really a unique person. And he was saying just like me, he is just like me, except he's got hundreds of thousands of subscribers and he can afford to take off work. But if you take off work, you don't get paid. And that's me. I don't have anybody else to fill in for me. There's no such thing as paid vacation when you own your own stuff. Let's see. Save a lot of pounds getting the Scram. That's fantastic. Jared says, "It's awesome. First RE coming off a Harley Wide Glide reminds me of my old Honda." And that's what I was talking to a drummer here a little earlier before the live stream started. Royal Enfield's really brought the fun or the joy of motorcycles back to my life. And I still have my Harleys and stuff like that, and I love riding other motorcycles. I took back the Triumph Speed Twin here on Saturday. And like I said, anything between the CF Moto or the W800 or the GSs, the BMWs, or whatever I've been riding, it's just not the same. I feel really comfortable riding the Royal Enfields more so than I have any other motorcycle in my entire life. Now, doesn't mean I don't like any of those other ones. I love them, but it's the fact of it is that when you really come down to it, I'm having a blast on the Royal Enfields. Let's see. Have fun, guys. Got to go work. Oh, great, Christian. Cheers. I'm glad you came and said, hey. McLovin says, think the Scram would make a good starter bike for my wife after the MFS. She's 5'6". Keep the vids coming. First thing I can tell you before anything else is go sit on it. Make sure that she is comfortable. After you've been riding a while, it doesn't matter how tall the bike is, to be honest with you, because you can ride anything. I know girls that are 5 foot even that are jumping on big Harleys and having absolutely no issue with it. RGSs, the really tall bikes, are tigers, because once you get it down to knowing how to ride, that doesn't mean anything. However, starting out as a first bike, get on it after she's passed her test and see how it feels for, because confidence is the biggest thing in new riders. Dan, see, I'm testimony one mid Ohio and Vermont. Well, you're probably going to be riding the same one I am right now, because I've got their mid Ohio's demo bike. So Dan, if I don't bring it back, you ain't going to ride. No, just teasing you. Insurance bike will be high for me on most bikes, so the Enfields are great in that respect. And that's one of the things I like most about Royal Enfield. They're very cost effective. Travis says he's thinking about upgrading the Scram from an XT250, and I'll tell you, it's a really good motorcycle. I'm really having a blast on it. As far as gravel roads, it handles it really well. I would say on the tarmac that it does exceptional. It's fun. It's quick. They've got any of those issues that some of the guys were talking about with the Himalayan as far as starting. It's non-existent anymore. I think that's the big factor that was holding some people back. I never had a problem with mine, but I do know that people were saying that they were, and I'm cognizant of that. So when I tell you that, man, you think fires up right away. There's a lot of differences in the bike besides the tire and the seat height and the rake and trail as well too. The styling is different. It's more, I would say, youth friendly. Rectification, want to test ride before weather changes here. Yeah, I mean, weather's changing here already. I mean, we went from 91 degrees, I think it was last Wednesday, and then the next day it was a high of 65, and it hasn't been much warmer than that. Well, I think I got up to 75 today, but that's about as far as it got. Fires up on first hit for sure, and my Hemi does that too. But some of the other bikes, they were saying they weren't. I don't know. I don't have any other experience except for 2022, and didn't have any issues with that. I did a whole series of videos on the 2022 Himalayan as well too. I just love the bike, and one of the things I'm trying to explain to a lot of folks that's never been on a bike like that in their life or whatever is, people, you always hear, oh, it's not strong enough, it doesn't have enough power. Well, when you're looking at motorcycles, the first thing you need to do, let me change this camera angle a little bit. The first thing you need to do is to figure out exactly where you're going to be doing most of your riding. I am pretty good friends with one of the dealers that sell BMWs and Triumphs and a few of the other brands as well too. And his exact words were 90% or maybe even higher than that of the GSs and the Tigers never see the dirt. They may go on a gravel road once in a great while, but they don't ever see the dirt. So my reaction is, if they're going to say that, why aren't you riding one of the bikes at BMW, if that's your brand, that is more touring attitude? In other words, to be honest with you, the touring style bikes like the GSs, after a while, I don't think they're that comfortable. I want something like almost, I want like my Road King or my Meteor 350, something that I'm comfortable in, and I can do really long distance. I can really, crush a lot of miles. Ed says he's had over 3,000 miles on Himalayan, Alabama. New fuel pump at 29.5 runs better now. And, again, what's cool about the Royal Enfield, if you do have an issue, 3 years warranty. That's perfect. Matthew says he's a truck driver and traveled all over the place, but traveling on a motorcycle over the U.S. is a dream. As somebody that's been pretty much every state except Hawaii, I have ridden motorcycles in Hawaii, but not to that. The only state I've never been to, and I keep saying I got to get there someday, and I don't know why I've never been there, but I've never been to Idaho. I just always want to either south of it or north of it through Canada. Rackifodi says the Scram is perfect for a lot of the UK. Only thing is Wales and Scotland, we got some big hills. I don't get that, be honest with you, because I've taken like my little Meteor 350 down through the mountains, and you're going to have to downshift a little bit. But if you plan a little bit, I know I've never had a problem. We got a lot of hills here, and where I live, and I've never had an issue with the Himalayan. But then again, I may ride my bikes harder than most people do. I really run motorcycles. I run them hard. We bought a Jeep to hit the trails, except for one gravel parking lot we never did. I don't understand. Yeah, maybe it's not the issue. I don't know. I simply have no problem running my hills here in eastern and southeastern Ohio. In fact, when we did the Ronin ride, we went through some pretty aggressive hills. And I mean, I was running 55, 60 miles an hour up and down, went through the Appalachian Highway, no issue whatsoever. That's a 70-mile-an-hour road. And I was doing 65 to 70 the entire time and virtually not having to downshift. You know, I would notice the hills coming, I'd throttle her up and burn right up through it and down. One thing I do that a lot of people don't do is I burn high test, and I don't know if that makes any difference for you guys or not, but I burn high test in every one of my motorcycles, even though it says you don't have to do that. I've always done that because I want a hotter, cleaner burn. Ed Jones says, sorry, that's 3350 on my, well, fantastic, Ed, and congratulations. And he's got, what, 2 years on the bike, and like the 2023 is going to be coming out pretty soon. That'll be interesting. But as far as the Scram, I really did enjoy it. I still have it. I'll be riding it next couple days too, doing more and more stuff. I'm going to take it back on the deer trails here. It depends on the weather, but I don't want to get it too dirty, if you know what I mean. But we're going to take it on some of the deer trails in the undisclosed location and see how that goes, because it's a motorcycle that is built for that kind of stuff. And we're going to run some pretty aggressive hills, meaning that it's not going to be like 70-mile-an-hour hills. It'll be like 25-mile-an-hour hills max, because it's where deer travel. It's a trail. There's no pavement. Let's see. McLovin says, I traded in my Meteor because I just couldn't do the highways to my liking. Wide open throttle top. Well, it's because, number one, it's electronically limited at 70, but you're probably not going to get much more than that out of it anyways. Will a Scram hit 80, 85 with a hitch in your experience? It'll do it. I don't know if I would keep it there. My Himalayan does that. I have no problem whatsoever running that. Now, again, my Himalayan is modified. I have changed a lot of things on it. I've never done anything to the engine proper, but I have put basically a stage 1 kit in it. Let's see. Dan said, high test for sure, no ethanol fuel. Exactly. And that's one of the reasons what I really try to stay cognizant of that too. Ethanol attracts water, and I don't like ethanol gas, but sometimes you have to, but just realize to burn it out and put your regular high test in. I'm a firm believer in using that. I work on my own engines, so when I pull the plugs to look at them periodically, I like to see that clean burn. You know what I mean? That's important to me. If I've got a lot of soot or bone white, I don't want to see bone white either. It means I'm not getting good enough fuel. But I like to see that good, clean look to it, and that's what I really do. And I also do something that I do for all my motorcycles is I pay attention to the owner's manual and all the maintenance videos, or not maintenance videos, but maintenance schedules, and I actually go under them. In other words, they say to check your, for example, I did a video on it to check your clutch free play every 600 miles, and I do that maybe every 500 miles. And to be honest with you, I had one or two times had to adjust it, and it was mostly one for just the video. Two is because it had just a little bit of looseness, and that was it. I saw one chap who replaced. Let's see, where'd he go? Oh, he retracted the message. Sorry, I was reading it and he retracted it. Let's see, but yeah, as far as the Scram handling. Let's see, biker just hit 50 miles on my Himalayan. Hard to keep it under 40 during the break-in. Man, you have to listen to your owner's manual. The problem with me, guys, is number one, bikes that I own, they're not new. I mean, well, I shouldn't say that because you're going to learn something here a little bit today. When I got my Himalayan, it only had 11 miles on it, and it was 2 years old. And it was one of those type of things that I run them like I run them. You know what I mean? But my advice to you is pay attention to your owner's manual. You can learn on an Enfield as well. So many new exhausts and main. Yeah, I mean that's fine. As far as that, and Jared says he hasn't kept his Scram under 40. Well, like I say, I'm riding a brand new one. I just don't park it. I just don't park it at 1 RPM range and don't lug it and don't rev it. Yeah, exactly. That's what you have to do. Yeah, maybe. But no, pay attention to your owner's manual. I don't want to get in trouble from Royal Enfield because I am one of their new brand ambassadors. I was talking to the folks at the factory here. They actually vary the RPMs. I was talking to the guys at the factory, and they said they're going to start upgrading their website. And I should have a picture and a bio on there for a brand ambassador sometime soon, whichever that means. But as far as the way that the Scram handles off-road, it's pretty strong. Now the tires are the seats, which are similar. They're using the old Pirelli MT 60s as far as the molds. So they're really similar to those. And so they do okay. Thick mud, they're not great. But then neither was the Royal Enfield, and I had the Pirellis on mine. Matthew says, I'm only nervous about doing valves. As well you should be. If you've never done anything like that, Matthew, I encourage you to take it to your Royal Enfield dealer, because if you mess up with that and cause a catastrophic breakdown, you're on your own. That's something that they really want you to take it to the dealer to do. Now, if you've got some savvy with that, that's a different story. McLovin says, since you're a brand ambassador, you can kick a discount our way. Absolutely not. I don't get anything else other than my ability to help access to motorcycles and that kind of thing, more so than anybody else. But that's really all it is to it. As far as a discount, I mean, shop around. I got some really big news I'm going to tell you here in a little bit, but I'm going to keep it towards the end of the video because it's something exciting and something I've been wanting to do since Savannah, Georgia. And you'll find out about it here shortly. But it's not what you think. It's not anything what you think. But like I said, let's talk mostly about the Scram. And my first ride reaction was I had a blast. In the video that's coming out Wednesday, you'll see it. It's fun to drop something in there. Have to disassemble the car. And Miss Kitty knows this from personal experience. I do know that. We were talking about this earlier here. I think it was on Instagram, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, Miss Kitty likes to do her own maintenance as well too, and we really appreciate her as one of our featured lady riders. Scram, better than a Himalayan. Better is a weird word because they're different, and I'll tell you what. Think about the Continental GT and think about the INT 650. They're similar but different, and that's what the Scram and the Hemi are. Similar but different. I think the Scram is going to appeal more to a younger audience. I think it's going to give them the ability to go off-road and learn how to ride off-road. One thing that you cannot do on the Scram is you cannot turn the ABS off, which is something I wasn't really tickled about because, number one, off-road, I don't want ABS. I want to be able to slide that rear end around easier. If I'm hitting the brake or whatever and I want to be able to slide it around, I want to be able to lock that sucker up and hit the dirt pretty hard and then throttle right out of it and get myself a good spin. If you guys have been riding dirt bikes, you know exactly what I'm talking about when you're trying to go around a tree or something like that. But sometimes you break off rear pegs. Ask me how I know. I hit a stump with my Himalayan. It was grass covered and I couldn't see it, and I was sliding around it, and there it goes. I think you're going to see the Super Meteor shotgun anytime soon. Again, that's one thing I do not get any outside or extra information. All I know is I would love to see them because I love to see more models. I think that, think about what Harley Davidson does. They have one engine. Well, I shouldn't say that. Well, they do. They have one engine. They have the Milwaukee 8 for the air-cooled. And then they take different sizes and put it in different motorcycles, and that's their entire thought process. Royal Enfield is going to probably do something similar. They've got the 650 twin, and I don't know if it's going to change anytime soon, probably not, but they can put it in different platforms that make it more interesting. And personally, the one that I'm excited about seeing would be the shotgun or the SG, depends on politically correctness. That one there would be hopefully a single-seater only. And if it's similar to what they did with the concept bike, it'll be beautiful. And one of the things that makes me excited about the Scram is the fact that they use that similar nacelle that they showed on that concept bike for the shotgun, and it's now on the Scram. And that I like that nacelle in the front. That thing looks really nice. That surrounds the headlight. I think that's beautiful. Travis says, "Would you take the Scram in the same terrain?" Yes, 100%. 100%. Will it climb logs as easy? No. But will it go the same places? It doesn't have as much ground clearance. In fact, the ground clearance, let's see, where are we at here? Ground clearance, come on, dummy, find it. Dimensions, seat height, curb weight. Oh, I have it written down here. Nope, I don't have it written down there. Where is that? Ground clearance is 8.6 inches on the Himalayan, and ground clearance is 7.9. So you're about a half an inch or maybe 3/4 of an inch difference in ground clearance, more so on the Himalayan. Now, pretty much everything else is similar there. The height of the bike, 53 inches to the top of the fly screen, so you really can't count that. But the top of the bike for the Scram is 45.9. So they're pretty similar there. There is a difference in gas. There's like 1/10 of a gallon less gas in the Scram. I don't know where that went because it looks like the same tank to me. Liquid cooled Scram 450 has been spotted in India. Well, I'm sure if that's going to be their platform for those motorcycles, then I'm sure they're going to increase the line all the way through, because it is the Himalayan Scram 411. If you guys have not seen any of the, I don't know if it says it on this shirt or not, but most of the stuff you're seeing right now says Himalayan Scram 411. It doesn't say it on this one, but it is what it is. And it's kind of cool. That's one thing I do get from Royal Enfield. I get cool stuff. And the ability to ride these motorcycles. And I'm telling you what, guys, I really had a blast with it. Now, let me give you some technical stuff. Will it be a 6-speed in future? Who knows? Do you need it? When you got an engine that's got that much torque in the low end, in the way it's, I would like to see it, but I don't know how it'll fit with a long stroke engine. Usually in the topper ends, it'll bog down easier with a long stroke as opposed to a short stroke. That's my experience, at least. Let's go some of the basic. All right, Rackophilia, great to see you, man. Stay safe on the road as well too. We got 52 watching. We really appreciate it. Everybody say cheers and tell him goodbye. We had a good time. Ramsaswamy, yeah, he just said that the liquid cool. I mean, that'd be cool. Who knows? I'm not really a liquid cool kind of guy, but I guess I have no choice. Let's see. Let's talk about a little bit of the basic. As far as the engine, they're identical. I think they did a little bit different work on the ECU. If you get to scramble, let us know, definitely. Let's see. As far as the engine, there's not really much difference. The chassis and suspension, there's not really a lot of difference. They're not actually telling you the travel on the front suspension on the Royal Enfield site. So I don't have, well, yeah, they do. See, front suspension on the Himalayan is 200 millimeters of travel. It's 10 less on the Scram. It's 190 millimeters of travel. And the monoshock in the rear, they're both 180. So you got a little bit less travel in the front end, and that could be simply because of the tire size. I wouldn't think so, but that's what it says. Wheelbase, we already talked about that, 51 or 58 versus 57.3 on the Scram. Ground clearance 8.6 to 7.9. Length, it's identical. Nope, inch shorter. The Scram is an inch shorter. Width, they're identical. The seat height, the Scram has a little shorter seat height. It's 33.1 or 33 inches. No, where's that? The seat height, where's it at? 31.3. Excuse me, I can't talk. And that equals out for you European folks and other parts of the world, 795 millimeters. And the seat height is 31.5. They don't list the millimeters. It's a Euro 5, is it? Yes. I saw it in the High Cat. Yeah, but as far as that would probably make a little bit of difference, obviously, in the way it performs. Brakes and tires, the front tire is on the Himalayan a 90-90-21, and it's a 100-90-19. The rears are exactly the same, 120-90-17. Front brakes are identical, rear brakes are identical, and the ABS is switchable on the back for the Himalayan and not for the Scram. But those are some of the basic differences. But as far as real world on the road, it's more friendly on the road. Would the Scram be a good touring bike? Well, I'm sure that if you set it up properly, it would be similar to what the Himalayan would be, and the Himalayan is absolutely perfect. With me having the ability to not, I have now on my Himalayan, I have the aluminum panniers, and then I have a Kemimoto 50-liter duffel that I can put on the back, and it is fantastic for long distances. Saw a lot of negativity on the brakes online, but that's solid in my opinion. Yeah, this is something that is cultural, and the guys here, and where is he at? Let me find him here. Ramaswamy. I take it for granted, Ramaswamy, you are from India. Is that correct? Please put it down in the comments. But the folks in India want a softer rear brake. They do things differently and ride differently than we do here in not only North America, but also in Europe and Australia, and obviously New Zealand and South America. So they do things differently there. And so you're pretty much every Royal Enfield I've ever been on, I've commented about how soft the rear brakes are. But what I'm learning is that's a cultural thing. And one of the things I did to my Himalayan right away is I bled the lines out. I did it to Meteor too, and replaced the brake pads with a little bit higher density brake pad, and it eliminated any kind of issues. I never had an issue, but it made them stronger, and I think that's the key. So if you complain about the brakes, I really don't have any problem with them, and I think that if you get used to it, it's like getting used to anything. If you're jumping off of like a Triumph Speed Twin, which I just got off of, where the brakes are almost they're almost too good. You hit that front brake and it'll put you into a stoppie almost immediately. I'm not kidding. They are right now. But you're not going to get that with the Scram, the Himalayan, the Classic 350, the Meteor 350, any of the bikes from India. They're not going to do that. They're going to bring you to a solid stop. And that's one of the tests that I did on the Scram. Is if you guys watch any of my first ride videos, when I take the bike home for the first time, I always follow the same route. That way I know exactly what the roads are going to be like, number one. Number two, but it tells me exactly what I need to do in these same situations, so I can get a pretty good idea of how the thing is actually working. And what I found out with the Scram is it actually surprised me how quickly it came to a stop. So if you're used to riding, well, put it this way: if you're used to riding a Harley, you'll be in heaven, because it's going to be about the same. They don't stop fast either, and you have to know your bike. Scram or Hemi for Trans-America Trail, the Himalayan, simply because it is more off-road. Now, if you're talking about the BDRs where it's more road, maybe the Scram would be better. But it's one of those type of things that I'm not going to say one is better than the other. I love them both. I'll tell you, the Scram does handle better on the road, though, no question about it. The only thing with the brakes on the Himalayan is that every now and then they have a slight squeal. I've been planning on replacing them, but I haven't gotten around to it. Well, if you do, there's aftermarket brake pads. Do that. That's what I would recommend. A lot of times when you get a squeak, it's the brake pads crystallize. It used to be a thing. I know you guys. I don't want to take for granted how old you are, but us old guys have been riding since the 60s and 70s. That happened all the time. The brake pads were junk, or they were made from asbestos, and it was one of the things that, man, I remember working in a shop when I was a kid, working at a Chevy dealership, and we used to blow the brake dust out, and we didn't wear any protection. I'm sure that's going to affect me down the road, but that's what we did, and those brakes were loaded with asbestos back in those days. But like I said, the brakes crystallize, especially if in heavy use, and so it's one of the things that now they've got the metal, the brakes that have the metal in, almost like a steel wool inside of it, that gives you better friction. And that it really makes a difference. Yes, old man from India, big fan of RE&U. Am I not right that the brakes, Ramaswamy, is kind of a cultural thing, that they want a softer brake, particularly in the rear? And I think that's one of the things that is a huge factor that most people neglect. But once you get used to it and learn how to ride it and learn the limitations, which you should do for every bike, which is why you never ever review a motorcycle after just jumping on it and taking it for a 15-minute ride. That doesn't show you anything. It's why I don't do it. What I do tell you is how it makes me feel. Truth says that that's true. My Meteor also squealed on brakes on occasion, didn't mind the softness of the rear because it never went that fast enough to go. Well, there you go. You have any other questions on the Scram before I start getting into some other news here? Because I'm really excited about this news. As excited as I'm about the Scram, to be honest with you. No, not yet. Not yet. Well, we'll talk a little bit more about the Scram. One of the things that that if you haven't, well, you've seen the picture on my thumbnail there, and that's the bike that I'm riding. I'm riding the white and red one. I'm not exactly sure what that coloration is called. Let me tell you here, White Flame, and I think it's beautiful. I mean, you guys all know if you've been watching the channel a while, 99% of the bikes I have, except for the Meteor, are black, and that's changed here too. I got to tell you something else in a minute. But as far as that go, I think it's really, really pretty. Yes, very true. And that, and that's one of the things that you have to be aware of. No matter how much we love motorcycles here in America, Royal Enfield is basically a new brand. I mean, like I said, I rode the old Bullet years ago. Back in the early, and I'm saying years ago, in the early 2000s. Before that, they were non-existent in Ohio. You just never saw them because they weren't selling over here. They probably were back in the 50s and 60s, but those are impossible to find now. But it's one of the things. I love that British look. Let's say I bought a blazing black, drove it for an extra hour just to get that color. And are you talking about for the Scram? Is that what you're talking about, Jared? Or what bike are you talking about? Because that may not be a color available here. Yeah, we don't have a blazing black here in the United States that I can see, unless it's a new. Oh, yes, we do. That's right. It's that same. It's the new color that's not on the brochures yet. That's right. It's like the gloss black. Yep, that's that. Is that not true? It's the gloss black with the gray. Gray. Is that correct? Is that the coloration? I think they have one up in Mid-Ohio Power Sports. As a matter of fact, I saw that because I thought that's. I said, man, I remember seeing that color. And he goes, yes, it's a new color that didn't make the catalog, so it's pretty cool. Black Mac and a gold stripe. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Yeah, yeah. But it's got some gloss to it. Am I not correct, or am I wrong? It might be. I may be totally talking out my butt here. Who knows? Let's see, we had a comment come down here. Let's see what the comment is. You've just changed my mind. Now I want a classic 350. Somebody commented on one of my older videos. Okay, let's see. Get out of that. No gloss. I got it. Well, there's a gloss one too. It's similar to the White Flame. I wish I had that coloration that on my screen here that I could tell you about, because it is absolutely beautiful as well too. I just think that what Royal Enfield's doing with colors of bikes over the last couple years have been fantastic. What's going to happen with this new Hunter 350 when it finally comes to America is, I mean, some of the colorations in the art is just gorgeous, and I can't wait to get my hands on a Hunter 350 as well too, because they are just absolutely stunningly beautiful. And they're going to be a different bike than what the Meteor and the Classic 350 is, even though it's the same engine. It's a different seating position, which is what the Scram is in comparison to what the Himalayan is. And like I said, Nathan says, my biggest love for RE is it's made in Indian streets and landscape. It makes it feel like a good, solid bike. And that's true. The old saying is, got a link you can drop. Let me see. It's a PDF. What I'd recommend you doing is going to royalenfield.com and go onto motorcycles, because what I had to do is I had to download a PDF, and I don't have a link that I can get that real quick. But if you just go to Royal Enfield, as far as their website, and then look at motorcycles, you can get all the information there, and you can download the specs is what I did. But it's a what do you call it? It's a PDF that I actually saved. Let's see. Ron says, what tire pressure do you maintain on the Meteor? I check my tire pressures probably more than anybody else on the planet. You guys know my affiliation with Airmoto, And so I use that thing constantly. And I follow on the Meteor the recommendations. Now, with me having so many motorcycles, I don't remember exactly what the tire pressure is off the top of my head. I have it written down in my garage, and that way I don't have to remember. And then I just go, oh, I'm checking the tire pressure on the front and back. But that way I just click it on, put the air moto on, and it takes me right to that tire pressure. Now on the Himalayan, I actually change the tire pressure if I'm going in gravel or not. Ron says you helped me out earlier this year when I got the Meteor. Well, fantastic, Rohan. I appreciate that. Hey, Ray Stockinger is here, and we want to welcome and tell us what you're drinking, guys. We really love that part of our show here, if you will. So, any other questions on the Scram or any of the other things on these modern Royal Enfield bikes? Because I got some pretty cool news I'm going to start sharing for you right now. Drum roll. Ray's drinking coffee. Man, I can't drink coffee this time of night. Just drunk water. McLovin's doing a vodka tonic. Yeah. Breaking news just in. You know, I've been talking to a lot of my Royal Enfield dealer friends, and I made a comment, said, you know, after going to Savannah and riding that classic 350, I really, really, really enjoyed that motorcycle. I put an ice cream in it. Oh, there you go. So you're almost having like a reverse affogato. That's fantastic. Valerie says, glad to hear that you're now officially an ambassador. Yeah, got a contract laying around there somewhere. That makes me happy too. But everybody knows my love of the classic 350. The only difference is, you know, I don't get free motorcycles every day. You know what I mean? It'd be nice, but I don't. So I talked to my Royal Enfield friends, and I basically made the statement. I said, anybody out there, you know, find a good deal on a classic, let me know. Lo and behold, I heard from one of these gentlemen, and on Friday, I took a drive to New York, which is about 5.5 hours away from me, and was told about it, found a 2013 Classic 500 in Battle Green. And I got a fantastic deal on it. The bike only has 289 miles on it, even though it's 9 years old. And I jumped on it. So what I have now in the garage, and you're going to start seeing in the future, guys, is a 2013 Classic 500. And when I first rode it, you know, a lot of guys complain about the vibration and stuff like that. Well, number one, I'm used to riding Harley Davidson, guys, so that is not a factor. Even when I was talking about the W800 and mentioned it vibrated more than the 650, the fact of it is, it's not a deal breaker to me. To me, that's one of the little quirks that make it a cool bike. Because to be honest with you, one of the things I don't like, Chad goes, yay, congrats to my Miss Kitty, I appreciate it. How much? Oh, I'll never tell you the price, dude. But I got it for a lot less than what you'd imagine. Congrats on the new 500. Tim says nicely on us. This bike is in perfect condition. I mean, it is literally a brand new motorcycle. I made sure I checked the gas tank for rust. I checked the oil. Of course, I'm going to go through an entire huge service here that I'll probably be filming that as well too. But I wanted to make sure that this bike was running, and it runs. I mean, it runs fantastic. And like I said, the vibration is, again, if you guys know my channel, I rode a 1966 Sportster all the way from Ohio to Florida to California to Anchorage and back, and that thing vibrated a lot. Yeah, 289 miles is when I picked it. It has more than that on it now, but that's what it had. That's what it has on the title. That's when I bought it, and again, I was up there polishing on it today just because you know, it's that battle matte green, but there, you know, where the aluminum is, it's not anything that, you know, it's not corroded or anything like that. I mean, the thing looks like it's brand new, but I made it look like chrome. One of the Classic 500 with a sidecar. I was laughing with Iron Lady today and said, you know, a sidecar may be cool on that bike. You know, I love the classics, you know, and it's not even the 500 or the 350. I just love the classics, period. And like I said, I literally fell in love with that bike when I was down in Savannah, and I was looking at the, you know, and they just a little bit too much money. So I'll tell you what, I paid less than a brand new classic 350. I will tell you that. I just don't like to talk about price because that's not really appropriate. You know, it becomes a braggy thing, and that's not what it's about. But what I will tell you guys is the only way that I'm able to do stuff like this, Ed's drinking raspberry tea, is because of my Patreons, like Nathan and like Chad and like Miss Kitty, and my YouTube membership, and of course the super chats that I get during these live streams as well too. And that way I can put, and I put every nickel right back into the channel. And it's one of those type of things that I wanted to have an older Royal Enfield. Oh, sorry, and Stewart as well too. And not leaving you out on purpose, just old and I can't remember. Andrea says, good morning from Greece. Good morning, Andrea. We really appreciate it. But as far as me putting every bit of money back into the channel, that's one of the things that I promised to do. And this is one of the ways that I am able to do more and more content for you guys with Royal Enfield and other bikes as well too. Ed is drinking muscadine wine, and yeah, you know, you can't beat it. There's great songs about muscadine wine. But long story short, I think it's going to be a really big addition to the channel. I wish there was a way that I could show you a picture, but I don't really print anything up like that, and I'm using the phone where the pictures are at as far as what I took. October 7th week, and 2 motorcycle campground, Suchis, Georgia's come down and hang out. October 7th is, we've got so much stuff planned for this next week and a half that there's no way I could get away, unfortunately. But I appreciate the invite, Ray. I really do. Like I said, we've got a big event happening this weekend, and here at the compound, you know, I call it that because it feels like that sometimes. But we got a big thing happening then. So big news, the addition of the Classic 500 to the channel. And like I said, I was so tickled the fact that it literally has virtually no miles on it, which could be a good thing and could be a bad thing. The bad thing is if this stuff has been, you know, is corroded inside, or wasn't taken care of, or the gas wasn't full and it rusted the tank. There's all kind of issues. I did check most of those things out. Obviously, I haven't dug into the engine yet, like I will be doing here, to make sure there's no, I checked for varnish. I checked for what the oil smelled like. Nathan, thank you. Now I can put drops of gas in that new Classic. That makes me happy. Thank you, Nathan. Much appreciated. We really do appreciate it. Anytime guys can offer up a super chat, it really, really helps the channel. Like I said, and it basically does. It's what makes our channel grow. And we're over 17,200, I think, right now. And I'd love to hit 20,000 by the end of the year. That's my goal. I don't know if we'll make it or not, but we're sure as heck going to try. And I think with content like that, as far as the Classic 500, I know the first thing I'm going to do to the motorcycle to make an addition to it, because it's pretty much perfect the way it looks, is I'm going to change the tires to and I really do enjoy the MT60 style. So either be a Shinko 705s or the MT60s, whichever I can find. Miss Kitty says Hitchcock is going to be open on your computer all the time. DNA filter really makes a difference in performance. Yes, it does. It opens it up and breathes. But I would also recommend that you do a exhaust change as well too, even if it's something like simply removing some baffles. That on my Himalayan, when I took off that factory exhaust muffler, if you will, they call them silencers overseas, and then put that DNA pre-oiled, and I got saying, how come you didn't oil that filter? Well, the DNA's, if you use a DNA from K&N, it's already pre-oiled. So you don't have to do that. I should have said it, but I forgot. You should do an Man Ronin ride with your fans. We did. We had one here the month of August. We called it August in Augusta. And we took it, we rode from the Himalayan Anchor, exactly. We rode from Newark, Ohio, or Heath, Ohio, down to Augusta, Kentucky, and crossed the river on a ferry. And that video will be coming out probably next Sunday. I've got a lot of it done already, but it's a long video, and I'm trying to shorten it up to make it within that 15-minute realm that I want to do. I was thinking about just letting the whole thing run, but there's not a lot of, it's just scenery and scenery and scenery. When we had so many people with us, I couldn't talk to them, and I was leading the pack. So basically, what I did is I was talking to Chad. Chad's one of our huge supporters here, and Andy. We had them on the Cardo system. So we had Andy in the middle and Chad in the back, bringing up the rear. And like I said, we took that ride down to Augusta, and that was a blast. We're going to be doing that once a year. So McLovin, stay tuned to the channel. Make sure you go to the manronin.com, and there'll be stuff on there as well too. But that really, really makes a difference when we're doing those kind of things. Having and we're going to do something in the spring as well too. We're going to do I was going to do it this fall, but man, since it seems like since the end of August, the time has just absolutely flown, and it's all, I'm trying to work as well too, and all of a sudden, man, I don't have time to do anything anymore, and it's going to start snowing pretty soon. I wouldn't be surprised. Does Cardo talk to a Santa? That's something I don't know. I heard they do, but I don't know. That's something I have to do some research. But as far as the Cardo, man, we had a blast with it. Now, it is pretty much line of sight, is what I found out. McLovin says they do. So it's pretty much line of sight, we did find out, because when we got down to some of the hills, and we did get separated a few times, but we were using the Kalimoto map, and the key people that we had there were all on the Kalimoto map, so we were able to go, turn by turn, and they could catch us, and I'd slow down a little bit. The way that I was running the Meteor down there, and like I said, and I run pretty hard, but no, not separated or lost, just separated. We sometimes we got stuck in lights that we couldn't get through and things like that, but yeah, like I said. Look for Ronin Ride at McLovin and on the website, and I'll be talking about it. And that'll be something that we'll be doing in the summer of next year as well too. Not sure where we're going to go. Like I said, we went south and crossed the river on the ferry, and that was a lot of fun. We really had a good time doing that. And we ate at a restaurant, went to a distillery. There's a winery down there we didn't get a chance to because they had a private party, or we were going to go there next. But they had a private party that they had it shut down for the public. They wanted just I think they had a wedding there or something like that. So why would you have a wedding? Well, guys, we've been on almost an hour now. For any other questions and stuff like that, we'd really like to hear from you, because we really had a good time with this video today. Can't wait for you all to see the Scram first ride reaction video that's coming out on Wednesday. And then, like I said, we've got some gravel road stuff we're going to be doing, and some dirt road stuff that we're going to be doing. The intro to the, and I'm giving you a little bonus or a little spoiler. The intro to the or the walk around, I should say, to the Scram will be back in the woods, so it'll be pretty cool. Ed says, may go to Bridge Day in West Virginia, third week in October, see how the Himalayan performs in the mountain state. I tell you what we have around here is mini mountains, and the Himalayan performs perfect. What do you call it, Stuart? You want to see the 500? Check out my Instagram, because after this video, I will be posting pictures probably tomorrow to show everybody what it looks like. And it is, like I said, it's be a member of my Instagram page, and of course it's instagram.com/Old Man Ronin. Same thing is true with Facebook. Same thing is true with Twitter. All of our stuff. The website, and we're going to be putting pictures of that up on the website as well too here, probably tomorrow or the next day, depends on what time I get. We got a lot of stuff happening this week, man. I'll tell you, a lot of stuff. It's going to be crazy. Tommy Watson Adventure says, I've used your videos to help me accessorize my Himalayan. Fantastic, Tommy. That makes me proud. I really do. Just bought myself a BMW 650 GS Dakar. Did I do what? No, you know what, man? Ride what you love. I don't care. As long as you're riding, that's all the difference in the world. McLovin says, good night, y'all. Work comes early. It does. And we appreciate you, McLovin. First time I think I've noticed you on our chat, and we really, really do appreciate it. And keep in touch with us. But man, as far as, buying the BMW, they're great motorcycles. There's not a thing wrong with them. So if you're happy, I'm happy. That's all that matters. Stuart says, "Long, it's not a Honda." One of the things, I had a conversation with a gentleman. See you, Stuart. Good night to you as well. One of the things that I had a talk with the folks up at Mid Ohio Power Sports when I picked up the Scram, and he has a bunch of motorcycles. The guy's got more money and sense, I think. But let's see, Jarrett says the only reason I was comfortable buying the Scram was your belief in the Himalayan, so I do appreciate that. Well, thank you, Jarrett. I do believe in the Himalayan, and I do believe in the Scram so far. Like I said, I've only had 2 days on it. I'm waiting for the 650 Meteor. Who knows how long that'll be, dickhead Brian? I really don't know. Valerie says time always flies when the snow is coming. I mean, I'm telling you what. I always make a joke because once it, and I think Iron Lady got a kick out of it this year, especially because she's really noticed that the times went by fast. Because every time it hits Memorial Day, I say, well, summer's over, because that's the way it feels. Ray says ran 8% grades all the way through Dale's Wheels. Time Museum on the Himalayan, could hold speed in 4th gear uphill, would lose speed in 5th. And that's the thing. You got to keep it in the rev range. If you're in that rev range, and that's why a 6th gear I think would not be so cool. I mentioned at first I wanted a 6th gear because I was thinking, oh man, that low end torque would maybe pull it through. But no, it doesn't. If you stay in 4th gear, you'll climb anything. And the same thing is true of the Meteor, and the same thing is true of the Classics. Those smaller engines, if you're not in the highest gear, you will actually maintain your speed. And that's a great point, Ray, and I should talk about that more. Not enough power, and that's what I'm just thinking. It sounds good in your head, but in practicality, I don't know if it would work. And that's one of the things I really truly believe. One of the things that I like to say is I don't know everything. I don't claim to be an expert at anything except knowing that I'm not an expert. I'm an expert at knowing that I'm not an expert. And so my ideas sometimes on different things change, which is why I never do a real review until I have 1,000 miles in the saddle on any motorcycle. I'll give you first impressions. I'll tell you what my initial thoughts are, what my gut feelings are, and that type of stuff, like I'm doing with the Scram. Right now I'm tickled pink with the Scram, but I'm kind of torn. I got the Scram on Saturday, but I got the Classic 500 on Friday. It's like, oh, I want to ride both of them. You know what I mean? So it's one of those type of things. It's which one? It's one of those type of things that I'm excited so much, but I'll be spending more time on the Scram because I'll have less time to use the Scram. So, and I know there's somebody here on our chat that wants to ride that exact bike here next week when I take it back to Mid Ohio Power Sports. But that's one of the things I was talking about earlier is, you've got to know the limitations of the motorcycle. And that's why the gentleman there said he bought himself a GS. If you're loving the GS, man, more power to you. I don't badmouth any motorcycles. I don't care what they are. If I have a bad experience with a motorcycle, you will never hear about it because it's not fair to the brand. A lot of times things come out of the factory. Anything built by man has an opportunity to mess it up, and that's except Honda. And that's one of the things I wanted to get to. I do goof on Honda because, like I was trying to say earlier, and I kind of lost train of thought. Honda is a motorcycle that's so refined that I don't say it's near perfect in the way that they do things, but there's no character to the bike, in my impression. Oh, Chad Brusher, man. Classic 500 hype. There he goes. I appreciate that, Chad. That means a lot. Everybody give Chad a big round of applause. We really appreciate it. Thank you, Chad. It means a lot. But is there anything wrong with Hondas? Hondas are great motorcycles, but there's no character. It's like when you get on the Classic 500, you get that little bit of vibration in the handlebars and a little bit in the mirrors. When you get on a Harley Davidson, it's one of the reasons why they're so popular is because they're not perfect. And I would put Royal Enfield in that same realm. They're not perfect as far as what the average Joe, the non-motorcyclist, would think. Ray says Honda has no soul. What I said to the gentleman up there at Mid Ohio Power Sports, and he even had a Honda hat on, I said, you never see a guy's lining up to get a Honda tattoo. Just doesn't happen. So I'm not hoping for problems, but I'm hoping for videos of the Classic getting in top shape. It's almost there right now, baby. I'm telling you, that thing there's not a mark on that bike. It is, the only thing I had to do was take a little bit of polish to some of the aluminum. There's a mark on the starter that's driving me crazy and I can't get off. That's all there is. Everything else is tip top. Let's see. Stuart starts laughing. I had a Shadow, great bike. Again, great bike, fantastic, near perfect, but they just don't have the soul or the character or the charisma of something. And what do you really remember? Do you remember when everything is going right during your day at work? But when you have a little mess up or a little hiccup and then you were able to solve it, you remember that day. God, I got through that. I got through that. I did that. And that is why I think Royal Enfield, Harley Davidson, Moto Guzzi, Ducati, some of these bikes that have, deep soul, even the old Triumphs, for example, my Nortons, man, I had to work on my Norton 750 and 850 Commando all the frickin' time. Was it a piece of crap? It was a blast, and that's what I'll say. That's the stuff you remember because you've got blood, sweat, and tears. He says, munch. And I'm loving my used Interceptor I bought last month. They're fantastic motorcycles. And like I said, they've got these motorcycles, I've always looked for motorcycles that have soul, and motorcycles that have character and charisma and little quirks to them. There's some motorcycles that are just really quirky, like a Ural that probably wouldn't be in my garage, other than they're cool looking. But Munich. So I was wondering what you're talking about. But anyways, where did that come from? Did I miss something? Let me go back and look, Stuart, what you're doing there, because I have no idea what you're talking about. Okay, I don't have no idea what you're talking about. Oh, Munich or Munch, I don't know. Anyway, but that's some of the things that I really do enjoy. Like I said, I've had several Hondas, and the ones that I had were older, and I had to work on them all the time. And so they had character to me. But if you jump on, like I say, one of the new, I was talking to Dave up at Mid-Ohio Power Sports. He goes, you really need to take the Honda Goldwing out. And I'm thinking he goes, it is so smooth that you don't even realize you're riding a motorcycle. Why would I want to do that? And that's basically what I said. Why would I want to do that? I want to know I'm on a motorcycle. You were talking about character brakes. Like, okay, I got you. Well, I've never even heard of that brand, so I don't know. I'll have to look that one up after I'm done doing this live stream. But I'll tell you what, guys, really, as always, enjoyed this. I hope you guys are excited about the Scram 411 videos that are coming out. There's going to be several of them. They're going to be one on Wednesday, and then we'll probably do a reveal. We'll do the Ronin ride, and it'll probably be the reveal of the Classic 500. Small German motorbike factory, 68 and 76, founded by. Okay, well, good to know. Traveled to Glory Days Custom Show in Pittsburgh this weekend, and only 2 RE. Such a shame. Yeah, I mean, again, they just weren't really a factor here in the United States up until, well, the last few years. The Classic 500s had the ones that have a cult following here in the United States for that reason. Same thing as, and I always said that the Royal Enfield is the Indian or the really old British Harley Davidson. They've been around forever, and just like Harley, and they build bikes with a lot of character. And like I said, it's one of the things that I think a lot of people, when they do start talking bad about motorcycles, about vibration, and about all these little quirks the motorcycles have, it usually comes from new riders. That's, like their first bike was a Honda, or their first bike was it's Miss Kitty. But that were not much character. They didn't have those little quirks to them, and so they're so used to. And man, if they can feel a little bit of vibration, it's just even like I said in that earlier about the W800, that the fact that it had a lot more vibration in the handlebars. I was taking that, guys, for you. I even said at the end of it, I still would want one. I think they're great. I love the W800. I think it's beautiful. I love that engine. I can't afford it. And if you start looking about bikes that appeal to me, bikes that are low cost appeal to me. That's what's the most important thing to me. I got to be able to afford it. I'm not going to go into huge debt to have something that I'm only going to ride occasionally. I want something that I'm going to be able to get into at a very good deal, and I'll be able to ride and tinker with it and play with it. And this Classic 500 is going to be one of them. I'm hyper excited about it. First thing I did order something actually as soon as I got home, it's going to have a heel toe shifter on it right away. That's the major addition that's going to happen to the bike, because I love heel toe shifters, guys. That's just me. Well, guys, I think we're going to call her quits for tonight. I want to make a big thanks to not only Chad for his donation. It really means a lot. And also Nathan. The super chats mean so much to the channel. Andrea says the Meteor is just shy of 5,000 euros here in Greece. Yeah, I mean, they're 4,500 bucks, I think, not out the door, but base price. And they're selling a lot of Meteors and a lot of classics here at the dealerships that I know of. Really called. Raymond says good night. Peter said nice evening. Stuart said had fun. Thanks all, guys. I really want to appreciate it. Again, special thanks, special shout out to Chad, special shout out to Nathan. We really do appreciate it, and I really hope each and every one of you enjoy these videos. Look for some that's going to be really exciting in the next couple of weeks and next couple of months, to be honest with you. The upgrade on the Himalayan as far as the ECU is coming out soon too. Hit the like button, right? Hit all, all the things is what they say on the YouTube channel here. But make sure you do subscribe, guys. We really want to keep getting those numbers up there. So subscribe and comment and share. I do read all the comments, and I do comment on everything I possibly can. Until next time, guys, ride safe, and as always, keep her on two wheels, baby. Now, should I sing? Do 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 do.